Rules. Do I hear a motion to open this meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. All right. We are going to see first if there are any adjustments to the agenda. Annie?
Yes. So we do not have minutes for you to approve this evening. I'll bring them to you in July. And I just added a reminder of the school committee's summer reading for our summer retreat. That's not a presentation. So nothing substantial, just no minutes to be approved tonight.
Okay, great. Moving next to public comment. If you're a member of the public and would like to make a comment, please limit them to 3 minutes or less. And pertinent to the agenda items, if you would like to speak, raise your digital hand and we will unmute you. Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed with the presentation and discussion items. First up is the superintendent summative evaluation for 23-24. And Annie, thank you so much for providing us the priorities for 23-24 and outlining the various priorities under instructional leadership, under management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional culture. So much work has gone into this year, and the progress on those very positive, and you've shared that with us in the weeks and months leading up to this time. So I'm very comfortable moving forward with a status of proficient. And remind me again what the 4 are.
Yeah, so if you, the 4 are, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the evaluation, underneath the grants comparison from last year to this year, the total comparison and the grants for this year, underneath that, I provided you with the rating that you provided, that you gave me last year in each standard, as well as the overall rating. And just so a reminder for all of you, I know you've done this for a while, but also for the public. So it's required by law that superintendents are evaluated in a public session of the school committee. The school committee is required to evaluate the superintendent on the 4 standards of performance set forth by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And as you said, Humira, each one of those standards is listed above with evidence of the work that we've done in the district on under each of those standards. And then you're required to then also provide an overall rating. And those ratings are then given to the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So educator evaluation ratings get passed on to the state, including the superintendents.
Terrific. And as I was saying, I'm very comfortable moving forward with exemplary under all 4 standards as last time, with an overall rating of exemplary as well. I'm very proud of the work that you have done, Annie, and I think that we have a lot more to continue to do. And even though you hit exemplary, you never stop striving for continuous improvement. It's a tenet that we hold dear, and so I am comfortable making that proposal, and I welcome my colleagues' input on the 4 standards and also the ratings.
I completely agree, Humira. Annie, we're very lucky to have you. Overall, just, considering what's going on in so many of the school districts, we are totally blessed that you are, with us, because yeah, thank you.
Tara?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm happy continuing with exemplary. I think one of the things that stands out from a school committee position is that each year we ask more and more of you. Each year we cook up new ideas and ways to move the schools forward, and each year you respond by going out and getting more grant money, getting more scholarship money, getting more opportunities for us to move forward. So I think every year we kind of see the work that you put in, and I know I am really appreciative, and I think the school committee is too, with the way you're always willing to do pretty much whatever we ask you, which seems to be an awful lot these days.
Thanks, Ethan. Tara?
Echo, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out this camera thing, but so I echo everything that everybody has said thus far, and then to Ethan's statement, I find that a lot of times we often don't even a lot of things present a lot of process improvement and a lot of opportunities to the students in our school community and bring those to us. You're always searching for ways of improvement, ways to expand the knowledge and opportunities to our kids without us even really having to do much. And yes, you do, you know, but above that, you bring a lot to our community. Even I really appreciate your commitment to the students and the staff.
Well, excuse me, thank you all very, very much. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy working in Hadley. I say that every single year. It's hard to believe that I just finished my 10th year here. It just struck me at graduation. So entering year 11 is, I feel honored and privileged and profoundly grateful. So thank you. And all of those successes, and I will say there are a lot of successes on there. It's a small district, but it is a mighty district, and that would not be possible without a team. So it's really important that I say that my responsibility is to create the conditions where talented people want to come and work and remain working. And it wouldn't be possible without the support of the school committee. It wouldn't be possible without the support of the town for its schools. So this is a wonderful place to work, and I'm quite grateful. I appreciate that. I appreciate the review and the feedback. You are required to take a motion and vote it, and then I'll type it into the document, and Dee can upload it to the state.
I'll entertain a motion to for exemplary for standards 1 through 4, along with the overall exemplary rating.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks.
So we're going to move next to calendar adjustments.
Very simple. We would like to try to go back to having the open house at Hopkins in the fall. So I believe it's scheduled for September 19th. And then the half day that follows open houses, comp time for teachers, would be on the 20th of September. And I think that is the only change since the last time you saw the calendar. And that does require a vote. Did I put that? Did I forget to write that down as a vote? So it does require a vote.
Is there a reason for a change in the open house?
Back from the spring to fall. Yeah, so we were hoping to get more foot traffic, and that didn't happen. And so the teachers, I think the teachers approached April and said, let's try the fall again and see how that works. And so we'll see how it works in the fall.
Great. I'll entertain a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
All right. Moving next to the business manager report. Chris, are you with us?
Yes, here I am. So I have 2 reports for you tonight. We're pretty much winding down the year at this point in time, but we do have just, some final entries to make. We have 1 more, or maybe 2 more even, expense warrants that we will get done just to kind of close out the year. But it's not going to change really considerably from what you see now, with the exception of the big payroll that we're processing right now. So the last payroll in June is always the big one, where we pay all of the staff who gets 26 pays, they get their regular pay for this week and then 4 more for the summer months. So we're working on that as we speak. I have the expense report for you from the general fund. And I just wanted to point out a couple of items for you on that report. We've been trying to figure out why the elementary school, it's right on page 1, why the elementary school principal's salary, she seems to have gotten a nice little bonus there. And we couldn't really figure out why, because when I ran her account in the general ledger, it was about 110,000 instead of the 183 you see. Turns out it's a pretty complicated Access database that sorts all of these things and kind of combines the accounts. And it seems when I added the account for my salary in, I somehow made it where it joined into Jen's salary. So I am working on taking it out of there, but needless to say, Jen didn't get that bonus that it looks like she got. So sorry, Jen, that's the way it goes. And a couple more items just, to kind of bring you up to speed on a couple of the changes that we've had. There are some special education contracted services that are over budget as well. Those are items that we typically would charge to Circuit Breaker. This year we had charged other items to Circuit Breaker, and we also got less of a dollar amount from Circuit Breaker funds than we have in the past. So we paid those items out of the regular budget. So it looks like the spending went a little crazy, but in reality, it was just paid out of different funds. And the final item was on the maintenance expense. I'm trying to just find the page. It was a contracted service. There it is. It's on page 3. Right at the very bottom, maintenance and grounds. It looks like it's about $75,000 over what we budgeted for. What we did was we have some capital expenses from the capital plan in that account as well, hoping that we can fund some of them, from that. We'll see when we finish up the year if we can or not, but that's the plan, is to try to fund them out of there. So, that's a good portion of why that's so far over budget. We also had some items like the lights at the elementary school. Real problem with the wiring on those lights. We had to get them rewired. That was almost $10,000. So there were some items that, we didn't plan on spending that were spent in there, but I just wanted to point those out to you. That's all. But the bottom line on the last page just shows we have a little over $700,000 left. There's still some entries. Again, I have to do a few more transfers to grants, and we have some just kind of clean up at the end of the year that we always have, and we'll close it out. But we have no worries about overspending or anything like that.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No questions, Chris.
Okay, thank you. And the second report I have is the grants report. As you can see, a good portion of these grants are now fully spent. We have the ESSER 3 grant with $232,000. That's the design for the geothermal project. So that's exactly the amount that we have remaining to pay for that. So it's just going to keep basically paying down until the plans are completed. The rest of these grants, I have more transfers to make, especially with the 189 grant. I got another couple of invoices today that will be charged to that. So that $13,800 will be considerably less. The 240 special education grant shows about $18,700 left. Part of that is going to, I have more transfers to make to it. The other part of it is we have to share this grant with the Hartsburg School, and they get a certain amount of money. It's typically around $14,000 that they get to spend, and we're pretty much in 1 year in arrears. So I was actually using all year the FY23 funds to pay for that. At the end of this year, we'll have the remaining FY24, and it just seems to be that we're 1 year behind with how the funds are spent. So just wanted to point those items out as well, but these should pretty much be largely spent down by the end of June.
Any questions for Chris on the grant report?
I just asked the 794, the hate crimes prevention, is that money that we are able to just hold on to? Is that something that doesn't need to be spent, or is it going to be spent?
I can help there. That one will be spent. We're actually in possession of an invoice to CES. And so that one will be spent down entirely in this fiscal year.
It's actually processed now. It's in the current warrant. It's for $31,000 and change, but it hasn't been posted yet, so it's not showing up on the report. Once we finalize the warrant and post it, then it'll be there.
Chris, I have a question about ESSER 3. The
Yes.
remaining funds, we have to expend that by September of this year. Is that true?
We have to have it designated for expense by September. So what I will do at the end of June is I'll prepare a purchase order for the remaining funds for that grant, and we'll carry it over into next year, and that will cover us.
Okay, very good. All right, seeing no other questions, we can move on to the next item of the agenda, which is the geothermal project updates.
Okay, so we had the drill out in the parking lot this week. I think it got a lot of attention for people driving by. They all wondered what this drill was doing in our lot. Very interesting makeup of the soil in that area. They went down almost 40 feet of just loam, and then they hit clay, which was odd because if you move about 200 feet to the south, I think it is, where the athletic fields are, we went down about 3 feet of loam and we hit clay. So, I mean, it's bizarre that 200 feet away, it's that much different, but yeah, they went down that far and then 170 feet of clay before they finally hit bedrock at 210 feet. So long ways down. They ended up drilling 800 feet down. And the reason for that was they were going to stop at 500 because they had about 300 feet, we'll say, of bedrock. They have to put basically a pipe going down where there's no bedrock, so where there's soil. So they have to put 200 feet of pipe in every hole that we drill. And he estimated we would need about 100 holes to heat the school. And so he said you'd have to put 100 of these pipes down. But if we can go deeper in this hole, then we can do less holes. So that would be less cost for us in terms of the pipes. There would be an added cost of drilling, deeper, but it would be more than offset by not having to put the pipe. So they went down 800 feet, and now they will begin working on the design in earnest because now they have, the data that they need. There's actually, he said, a 3-day resting period for the well. And then they will work on it either at the end of this week, because they just finished it today, or beginning on Monday next week.
I'm just curious, what does the resting period allow them to do?
I honestly don't know. I mean, he just he was driving home. He called me and he said, we're going to start next week. We have to let the well rest for 3 days. Let me ask him though, and I can just send you guys an email because it's kind of interesting stuff. So I will definitely ask him and just forward the email along to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's tiring being a well. I've heard that. I've talked to wells. They're exhausted a lot. A lot is asked of them. I only have 2 things to add on the geothermal project from our conversation last Monday. Sarah Ross is going to provide me with contact information for the person at Smith College who could potentially host us on a field trip out there to see their geothermal project. And I did email Mary Piketty of MSBA to see if she would be interested in coming to Hadley for a site visit. As I get responses to those things, I will add them to that final tab of notes and follow up. And this is just a reminder for the community. This workbook we developed last week when the school committee met. And the purpose of this workbook is kind of similar to the COVID dashboard that we kept. It's just a way for the public and select board and others to be able to go to this link. And it will always be a link every month in school committee agenda. So beginning last June 17th agenda and every agenda that we have going forward, even if there isn't an update, we'll have it linked there just so people can easily access it and see where we are in terms of projected timelines and what we're learning through the process.
Thank you, Annie. Keeps us really organized as it did during COVID. And I'm already seeing tremendous benefit from keeping us organized around this project in this one workbook. So thank you. All right, any questions for Chris or Annie about the geothermal project? Okay, very good. Thank you. We're going to move next to, let's see, are there any action items in terms of approving the payroll and expense warrants?
You have your muted.
Yep, sorry about that. So we had 6 warrants that were sent out for signatures. I know Ethan signed all 6. They were all for this month. 2 payroll, 2 basically accounts payable warrants, and 2 DPW for fuel. So those are all signed. I just need your approval on them.
Okay, thank you, Ethan, for reviewing those and staying on top of them. Do I hear a motion to approve the payroll and expense warrants for the last 6 items?
Move.
And do I hear a second?
Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I was muted. Yeah, second.
Okay, a motion from Ethan, second from Christine, and yes, Tara, didn't hear you at first, but now we hear you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tara, I didn't hear you that time. Did you say aye? Great, terrific. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, school committee updates and general announcements. We're going to start with the playground, CPAC, and CES. Tara.
Okay, I hope you can, I hope you can hear me. I think I need a new video camera. So CPAC, I have no update on. I had one meeting this past Friday. I was not able to attend. I'll share with you next month when their meeting minutes come out. CES, I did attach, well, Annie attached the director's executive summary meeting last month, where we did go over and re-sign the contract for Todd Gazda, who will stay on as the executive director, and went through a lot of their financial reports. If you haven't had a chance to read the summary, it's a nice thing to read. And I can't remember if I think I forwarded it to you guys, their last monthly review. I think it was the week before last, and I'll double check after this. That's always a nice read too, just to kind of see what they've been up to. So if I haven't shared that, I'll double check and I'll share it. But I think I did a few weeks ago. And then the last thing is the playground. So I don't know if you all had a chance to look at the playground updates, but there were a lot of updates this time. So just real quickly to go through, when you look, we've raised all the money that we need in order to put the playground in. And the playground has been ordered. The Friends of Hadley Preschool donated for the entire cost of the small playground. So that's $92,580. So thank you to the Friends of Hadley Preschool. And we're hoping, end of the year kind of crept up on us. So we're hoping to be able to get a nice picture as well as we've done with other large donors. So I'm working to coordinate that. I was working on that today. And then on that first slide for the update for June, I also include the People's Bank presentation deck, as well as the Greenfield Northampton Cooperative Bank deck. Actually, maybe I forgot to include that one. I'll update that and include that one. I think I forgot. I did. I'm sorry. Actually, I forgot People's Bank. So either way, we've got both of those. And then the Greenfield Northampton Cooperative Bank. I don't remember if you mentioned this, that's a total of $15,000, but over a 5-year period. So we did receive that $3,000 check already for this year. And I've already started conversations with Chris about the remaining amount when we get that in. And there will be little updates that we'll be able to make on the playground with that funding as it comes in over the years. The Gazette, we did submit an article. Well, we did submit information for the Gazette for an article. I did just hear back from him today, and he was looking for a little bit more specific about the features of the new playgrounds. So I will email him out again and give him a little bit more detail about the actual playgrounds and what they will feature specifically, like what's on the structure, I think is what he's looking for. And then we did include pictures with our large donors as well. So I'm hoping they'll be able to add that into the Gazette article as well. And that's kind of the start of our recognition and the start of our thank yous. I've started also, I didn't put this in here, but I've started working on formal thank yous and certificates that'll be mailed out to all of our larger donors as well. So I'll show that next month as well, what was sent out. We did the Asparagus Festival at the beginning of the month. I included a couple pictures from that. It was really cute. We raised $470 on that event. And a lot of people came over, some people donated. Ms. Desjardins actually came and took a shift and spent some time with us. And so that was really nice. And students were excited to see her as well. That helped bring some people over to the table. We have the GoFundMe currently at $4,670 in there. So that's fantastic. We've gotten a lot of community support that way. This past weekend, we just did the car wash at the high school. We had the entire UMass men's basketball team there. They were phenomenal. We started out with just a few of us out on the road with our signs. And it wasn't really successful. So I sent out a few of the basketball players, and they worked Route 9 for us. And they brought in the cars, and people were really generous. Some of the players were coming in just with cash, saying, just pulling over and giving us cash and didn't want to get their car. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a lot of fun. And so we're really thankful for them donating their time this past weekend for that.
I saw some great pictures on social media.
Yeah,
it
they
was
had
great.
a blast. They brought a big speaker. We set up music. They were dancing as they washed the cars, and people were very excited when I stopped in and announced to them, because what we're asking for a donation. I told them what the donation was for, and I said, and then your car will get washed by the UMass men's basketball team, and every single person had a smile on their face. It was really exciting. People really liked it. The Savings Bank, that hasn't changed yet. I'll follow up again with them. So I do anticipate that we'll still get a donation for them, which will still be useful, as there's still some things that we weren't able to afford. So we'll still be able to make that, make that money very useful. We've been focused on kind of wrapping up fundraising. So we haven't talked more about donor recognition. That'll come again. I did speak with our art teacher. He's on board if we end up doing some kind of mural thing, but more to come on that. It'll get back to you guys. And then my last bullet point there is that the playgrounds were ordered. And so I think these are the first official pictures that are being released on here. So there's one slide that has I put grades 1 through 3. I don't know why I did that. It's grades 1 through 6 for that one. And so those are the renderings of it. And that is what our playground will look like when it comes in end of August, beginning of September. It can be hard. There's a lot of slides and a lot of images that were provided to us. And I'm happy to share that Dropbox with you all as well, so you can look through every single image. But I tried to capture a couple of images that showed a lot of variability, a lot of different things that are available to the kids. We've got low level and high level um, play areas for the kids. And two, so the chair looking thing is an oscillating chair. It actually spins. And then that cone like thing with the blue ropes on it is also a spinner as well. So it's pretty neat. Um, and so I'll share that Dropbox with you all so you can look at it and get a better idea, because it's hard to capture it in the one image, but the platforms are larger, access is easier. We will have ADA mats up to several entryway points. And then we plan on having it strategically placed that if in the future we're able to get donations or raise enough money, but the goal may be to try and what can we add on for inclusivity as well, to make it even more accessible. So that is on the fundraising committee's mind as well. So that's the big kid one. The pre-KK one I think is supremely awesome. And this to me also is kind of a start. It's a good starting point, and this will also be strategically placed so that if we are able to add on in the future, we can. And what I can tell you about it is so there are a couple of different things. The stepping pods are there. There's a panel that has a little tractor on it with gears and a steering wheel, which seems pretty fitting for Hadley. There's a standing spinner on it. And then there are two musical items on there that you'll see. One of them is a drum, and the other one is it's called a percu-sound. And so there's different spots on it that'll play different sounds. What's not pictured here is that we also have, I think, three other items that are going to be on here as well that look kind of like flowers, and they have like that hand that they call the tong, but used to almost like a drumstick used to make music as well. The placing of this is not permanent. When we come to install it, we're going to be able to place things that don't need to have a safety zone around them at places that are further out towards the end. So the music and the panel will be out towards the outskirts of the structure, to make them A, more accessible, and B, more room for things in the future that we may be able to forget. So I'm really excited about those. I'm really hopeful. This is the color scheme as well. It feels bright, cheery, inviting. So I think everybody's pretty excited. So we're eager and anxious. Again, I don't think we have an updated date exactly, but end of August, beginning of September, it should be shipping, arriving, and then subsequent construction of it. And then I'm talking with Chris about the removal of the current playground, so more to come on that. And then the last slide, again, I just wanted to kind of start some of our thank yous now, just because so much work has been done. So, and again, we're gonna have more letters are going to be sent, and then we will have an opening, kind of similar to opening day at the fields. We'll have that opening ceremony, where we'll invite everybody, including our donors, so that we can formally recognize them there as well. But one, to school committee administration for just ongoing support from day one of this project. There's been nothing but excitement. Principal Dowd, who's just been phenomenal, supportive, active, on board with every idea that comes forward, helping collect some of those comments from students, which one of them will actually be quoted in the paper, and we got permission from the parent. And so, getting the support from her, getting the support from the community as a whole. We got feedback from students, staff, parents, and teachers, just everybody giving their thoughts. PTO, I kind of want to single them out a little bit. They've been really helpful in allowing us to be able to organize the funding. We created a separate bank account in order for us to be able to collect funds until we're ready to pass that over to the school to pay for the structures. And so they've been just really great. They've allowed us to use PayPal. They've set up Venmo to make it more accessible for people to donate. They've been really great, and the Friends of Hadley Preschool as well for their support for the entire small playground. And then for just helping out various ways across the way. Again, thank you to the UMass men's basketball team. That car wash was solely successful because of them. Thank you to all of our donors. And then I put a special thank you into some of our large donors. So Steve Lewis Subaru, who's always supportive to our community, Greenfield Northampton Cooperative Bank, People's Bank, again, Hadley PTO, Friends of Hadley Preschool, and the Meyer family, who's been supportive through gifts along the way, as well as a large monetary donation as well. And then I just named a few people who have just been critical that the project would not have moved forward without them. So Courtney Meyer is just essential and strategic in moving it forward. So unbelievably helpful. In addition to donating her time, her money, and gifts, it wouldn't have moved forward without her help. Melissa Steinbeck, the president of the PTO, she's been critical. Emmy Hopkowitz, also in the PTO. Karina Parsons, Laura Nagel, Brandy Phil, who was critical in helping with the fundraising efforts. I mean, she reached out to everybody in any way and did anything possible that she could help. And Abby Stern as well, helping kind of make some of those connections with social media and news sources as well. So it's really everybody. It's really exciting. So that's where we are now. I'm sure I'll have another update next month, maybe a little less long, but we're pretty excited.
Tara, thank you. And congratulations to you and everyone you've named on being on hitting the fundraising goal and getting this project off the ground and really successful. So excited to hear that you've ordered the play structures and that we'll see them in the next couple of months. Thank you for that. I see Christine has her hand raised. Christine.
I just want to compliment and thank all of your group, Tara, because this was just sort of discussed in March is the first time we really talked about this. This is phenomenal. It really is for, I mean, you look at other projects that it takes years, and yet you guys, you have done an amazing job. Very proud because it's great. The kids are going to love it. I think that it is a huge, huge compliment to, your dedication and everyone's hard work. Amazing. So.
Agreed. Thank you, Christine. And, there's a lot of special shout outs here. I want to also just double down on the special shout out for the Friends of Hadley Preschool, who had this original glimmer in their eye for new play structures and started collecting the funding for that and helped us just make it a much bigger thing. And I want to really commend you also on making this truly a participatory process where everyone has weighed in and had some, say in what their vision is. And thank you for bringing that all together. That's not always easy, but so excited to see that come together. And yes, in record time. So congrats. Any other comments or questions for Tara on this? All right. Thank you. We're going to move next to finance, and there is no new news on the finance front. So we're going to move on to fields, and Paul is not here. He sends his regrets, but I wonder, Chris, are there any updates on the field?
Yeah, we submitted last week the final punch list of items that, we all walked the field. I think there were about 38 maybe items on the list. So we put pictures and wrote a description for each one and sent the document to Amasta. I reached out again this morning because I hadn't heard, basically anything once it was sent to them. And they said they already took care of a few items and they were working on more today. And I wrote back and just said, there are a couple that are really top priority and we'd need you to take care of those quickly. So I'm hoping they'll jump on them, but it's the end is getting near.
Terrific. I also want to thank you and Omasta for that guarantee, and also Paul for persisting and advocating for the last few baseball games to take place on the new field. It was really special to be out there, and we just got so many enthusiastic comments from our teams that we played with, parents on our team, family members. It's just really gorgeous. If you haven't had a chance to walk the walking path around the field, I highly recommend you check it out. It is really a point of pride for our school. Okay, moving next to Capital. Christine, any updates there?
No, not at this time. Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. And on the policy front, Ethan?
We got together earlier today to discuss the homeschooling policy that we had taken a look at a couple months ago, and we will be bringing that to you guys soon.
Great. Can you just repeat what policy that is?
Regarding homeschooling,
see.
what's the best way to say this? Homeschool participation in Hadley Elementary or in Hopkins Academy.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you so much. And next, onward to general announcements. We're going to start with outstanding alum for Hopkins Academy. Annie, do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, so I strongly encourage members of the community to tap on the link that is embedded in the school committee agenda. This is something that the Edwards Hopkins Foundation is doing and asked us to get the word out. So all the information about how to nominate and who is eligible and the process is included there. So please, it's due August 1st. And if you know an outstanding Hopkins alum that you would like to nominate, let the Edward Hopkins Foundation know.
Great. Thank you, Annie.
Is there a
Yeah.
limit on how many people you can nominate?
I don't see that in there. I say go for it, Christine. Go
Okay.
for it. Send them a list, 20 people. They're all great.
Oh, I could do that.
Great idea. And Annie, can you take us through the summer reads? Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? And
Yes, so thank you all for being open to this. If you recall, one of our Hopkins Academy teachers recommended The Anxious Generation. Both these books are by Jonathan Haidt. And then I know you're all overachievers, so I said, let's read both his books. And I have ordered those. If you don't have your copies, they are waiting for you in the central office. So there's 2 books there for you: The Coddling of the American Mind, Jonathan Haidt, and then his newest book, Anxious Generation. So again, recommended by a Hopkins Academy teacher, at least The Anxious Generation was, and also a parent, but no idea that we had gotten this recommendation, and you all said, sure, we'll read these books over the summer and talk about them when we get together in August. A parent offered to purchase a copy of each of these books for each school committee member. It was very generous. Thank you, Tony Lynn Morelli, for your generosity. But great minds think alike. So you guys were already reading these, but she very kindly purchased them for administrators in the district. So thank you very much for that. And they'll be reading it with us also.
And we're not alone. There are a number of school districts around the state that are having similar community reads with Jonathan Haidt's work. And it seems to be really resonating with educators. And I've gotten started on his first book, and it's a good read. So I would recommend diving in so that we can be in time for our retreat and we can discuss some of those themes there. It's not here, but I'd like to...
My mistake. It's on the July one, Mr. Phil.
Oh, yes, exactly. So we have, Joyce Phil is no longer on the select board. We thanked her for her many years of service. And our new school committee liaison from the select board is David Phil. Welcome, David. So nice to see you. Hi, David.
Oh, hi guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We look forward to having you, and especially in light of the fact that we're looking at some big capital projects, and you have some great large project management experience. It'll be great to have your expertise on the team as we consider those projects.
yeah, if there's anything you guys need, I think I replied all with my phone number and email, but if not, just reach out whenever. Happy to help in any way I can.
Thank you, David.
And there'll be a standing agenda item, that's what we're referring to in these updates. You don't have to prepare anything. It was just a general place where Joyce could say, oh, this is going on, or things that, anything that you want to update the community or school committee on pertaining to the select board.
Thank you.
Great. All right, we're going to move next into executive session. The chair will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss contract negotiations with non-union personnel and to return to open session. Do I hear a motion to, okay, yes, thank you, Christine. And do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Tara. All in favor?
I'm sorry, you have to roll call on this one. And Jen,
Okay.
we're just about to go into executive session, so you're going to be left out here on your own, just because she just joined. I didn't want her to think we all just left. Oh, there's left. Oh, oh, you do need to roll call. Sorry, you need to roll call.
I'm going to take a roll call vote. Christine,
Aye.
Ethan,
Aye.
Tara,
Aye.
and Humira, aye. All right, Annie, do you need me to?
That
make
would be fantastic.
room?
I'm always afraid I'm going to shut the whole thing down.
I need you to have more confidence in this.
One day.
1 second. Annie, does Chris get pulled into this one?
Yes, yes.
Very good. All right, public, we'll be right back.
Did I look at this?